coming in from London from over the pole, flying in a big airliner, chicken flying everywhere around the plane. Could we ever feel much finer coming into Los Angeles, bringing in a couple of keys? Don't touch my bags if you please, Mr. Customs Man. Yeah, there's a guy with a ticket to Mexico. No, he couldn't look much stranger, walking in a hall with...
Recent news reports have brought to light a program in Saudi Arabia called Visa Express. It allows private Saudi travel agents to process visa paperwork on behalf of Saudi residents. 3 of the September 11th terrorists obtained their visas this way, never being interviewed by anyone in the consular office. When the program began, it was advertised as helping qualified applicants obtain U.S. visas quickly and easily. Applicants will no longer have to take time off from work, they said, no longer have to wait in long lines or under the hot sun in crowded waiting rooms. I'm quoting from State Department documents. Here are some of the September 11th terrorists who came into this country under the Visa Express program. Salim Ahmad Ahamzi, age 20, arrived in the United States with a tourist visa obtained through Visa Express. Here's another one, Khalid Al-Midar, 25-year-old gentleman. He was one of the people on flight 77 that crashed into the Pentagon. And here's another one, Abdulaziz Al-Morari, 28, arrived in the U.S. on a tourist visa in June of 2001, a pilot of the American Airlines Flight 11 that crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Centers. Now, under this program, these Saudi citizens just go to a Saudi travel agent. They fill out a 2-page form, they pay a fee, they went home and waited for their visas to arrive in the mail. No interview with any American official. One senior consular affairs official describes the program as an open-door policy for terrorists to come into the United States. Mr. Speaker, it seems to me that we have our priorities out of order here. This isn't customer service. It is national security.
Enforcement was seriously neglected or de-emphasized, while service and assistance and facilitation was greatly emphasized, and that the money flowed to the soft helping rather than the hard enforcing. And specifically on really putting teeth into the denial of visas and looking at Visa Express, for instance, looking at things like transit without visa, that essentially the consular corps kind of thought this was not really their business or much of a threat. That has come through from a good deal of the interviewing we've done. Would you care to comment on that, Ambassador?
Mr. Secretary, I would agree. I would disagree with that statement. I think that we did balance law enforcement and travel facilitation. We poured what money we had into improving our lookout systems with CLASS, with tip-off, with Visas Viper, all of which were designed to get us the information that we needed to identify people that we should keep out of the country. I don't think travel facilitation and law enforcement are opposites. I think they're all part of the whole scheme of things as we were trying to do them. Visa Express, which I agree, I mean, I certainly wish that it had a different name. It's a very unfortunate name because it makes people think that we just issued visas.
Well, the problem is not that you issue visas, it's the fact that some terrorists actually used it from third countries to get visas that, had it not been in place, they would not have presumably been able to get.
No, I don't think that that's really correct, because prior to the time of Visa Express, most of the people in Saudi Arabia were not interviewed. What happened was that they would come, this is pre-Visa Express, they would come in the mornings and they would make their application, they would drop off their passports with the application, they would come back in the afternoon to pick up their passports. Thus, there was the waiting rooms in both Riyadh and Jeddah were insufficient for the numbers of people who were applying for visas. And so there was a great deal of milling around outside of the embassy, both in the morning and the afternoon, which was of great concern to the regional security officers at both posts, because as you know, in 2001, we were having intelligence information that there were threats against our interests in Saudi Arabia. And in fact, in July of 2001, we put out a travel warning on the Arabian Peninsula because the threats that we were hearing were so great. So I don't think that Visa Express changed anything, except that a third party now received the passports and submitted them to us, and eliminated the crowds at the embassy and at the consulate. The consular systems staff, which developed class when we had the money through MRV fees, developed it so that you could not print a visa without checking the system. There was no override to that at all. You had to check the system so that a consular officer, no matter how busy or overworked or tired or whatever they were, there was no way that they could issue a visa without checking the name, the lookout system class. So I think that knowing what certainly we did in consular affairs prior to September 11th, 2001, we took every step that we could to enforce the law and to be
I would respectfully disagree with you. I don't think the record shows that at all. In some of the interviewing of some of your officials that were doing the actual consular functions in Saudi Arabia at the time, they said in so many words, gosh, if we only knew, if someone had told us that Saudi Arabia was a threat, we thought that they were our friends. And all we were looking for were people who were trying to immigrate, and we weren't looking for terrorists. Well, hello. I mean, did anybody read the newspapers? I mean, there were books. The literature was rife with, books like Among the Believers that cataloged this tremendous proselytizing of hatred and of fundamentalism around the world, sourced in Saudi Arabia with many Saudi Arabian institutions and clerics, the source of it. Yet everybody that we talked to said, oh, well, Saudi Arabia, as they issue visas, Saudi Arabia is our friend, so we don't look for terrorists here, maybe somewhere else, like Pakistan, which is the point I was making with one of the terrorists who applied for a visa thanks to the changes that were made with Visa Express from a third country that he would have gotten much different scrutiny had he not done it into Saudi Arabia. So that is, I don't think the record supports your view.
Another comment from Tennelle, Georgia. Go ahead.
Yes. I don't understand why nobody's addressing the Saudi Arabia issue, which all these guys were Saudi who bombed the trade centers, and nobody questioned, I guess because Bush has ties, or his father has ties with the Saudi family. Why is Saudi Arabia not being addressed here?
Well, National Review has been very, very tough on Bush for not being tougher on Saudi Arabia. As a matter of fact, we published a lot of the visas that the terrorists used to enter the United States, some of them through a now defunct program called Visa Express that let Saudis in virtually with no questions asked. It was with disastrous results. So, Tim Russert didn't bring it up today, but Bush has gotten a lot of criticism, and he's going to get more.
All with his things and all, smiling said it was a Lone Ranger coming in the search my bags if you please, Mr. Customs Man.